The great hall of the Zerati Peace Palace was full of color and sound. Alien leaders from many planets sat on tall, shiny chairs. Bright lights shone on their faces. Flags of many worlds hung from the ceiling. The air was thick with hope and tension. At the center of the hall, on a raised platform, stood the human delegation. They wore simple uniforms, but one man stood out. Sergeant Leo Grant wore a full suit of heavy armor. It was dark gray, with blue lights blinking on the arms and chest. The armor was not just for show, it was built to protect him from any danger. People whispered about humans. Zarti saw them as noisy, stubborn creatures from a weak planet. He did not trust humans, but the peace summit was important. Both sides wanted to avoid war. Princess Varelia watched the humans from her seat at the head of the Zerati Council. She was only 19 years old, but already proud and strong. Her long silver hair shone like a star, and her sharp eyes looked down on the humans with amusement. She had never met a human soldier before, but she thought they looked strange. When it was time to speak, Varelia stood. Her voice was cold and clear. "Sergeant Leo Grant," she said, "you wear your armor like a child hides behind a toy. Tell us, do you think your weak human body could survive without that metal cage? Or are you afraid of real strength?" The hall laughed. The Zerati nobles smirked. Some clapped softly. Then the human delegation looked uncomfortable. Leo did not speak. His face was hidden behind his helmet, but his eyes were steady. He slowly stepped forward. Princess Varelia smiled and said, "Go on. Show us the weak human without your armor. Let us see the truth." No one expected what Leo did next. He bent down slowly, his movements calm and sure. One by one, he unlocked the heavy plates of his armor. With each click, a small crowd gasped. The helmet came off last. His face was young but strong. His skin was weathered from years of fighting. His eyes held quiet fire. Without a word, Leo turned his back to the crowd and walked away from the platform. The room fell silent. Varelia's smile faded. She looked surprised and angry. "Insolence," she said loudly. "How dare this human show disrespect to the Zerati throne?" One of her generals whispered, "Princess, he did not come to insult. Humans are different. Perhaps he means something else." But Varelia shook. Her head no. This is weakness. He walks away because he knows he cannot win. Outside the palace, Leo walked alone into the alien jungle. He was unarmed and without armor. The thick trees towered above him. Strange sounds echoed everywhere, chirping birds with sharp beaks, reptiles with glowing eyes, and the distant roar of something large and unknown. Leo did not look back. He was not afraid. The jungle was dangerous. It was full of predators that could kill in seconds. But Leo had trained for years. He knew how to use his mind, his body, and the world around him to survive. At a small clearing, Leo stopped. He sat quietly and closed his eyes. He listened to the jungle. He felt the ground beneath his hands. The wind touched his face. Inside the palace, Varelia spoke to her council. "This human soldier has insulted us all. If he thinks humans are weak, let him prove it. Find him. Bring him back." Her words were sharp, but some council members looked uneasy. An older general, Zarok, said, "Your Highness, humans have surprised us before. They fight with strange courage. Perhaps we should be careful." Varelia waved him away. "No more talk. We act now." Back in the jungle, Leo began to move again. He traveled without weapons, but he was never helpless. He set traps from vines and rocks. He used his knowledge of plants to find food and medicine. When night came, he made fire. With sticks and dry leaves, days passed. Leo found a small Zerati village hidden in the jungle. The people were frightened when they saw a human without armor. They hid their children and watched from behind trees. Leo did not try to scare them. He sat down and began to work. When a giant sky beast attacked the village, roaring and knocking down huts, Leo stood his ground. He threw rocks and shouted to scare the beast. When the beast charged, Leo used a rope trap he had made. The beast fell and struggled but could not move. The villagers came out slowly, amazed. One old man stepped forward. "You saved us, human? Why?" Leo smiled softly. "Because no one should. live in fear. The villagers began to trust him. Some brought food. Others helped him make better traps. Back at the palace, scouts returned with bad news. They have not found Leo, a captain said. The jungle hides him well. Virelia's eyes narrowed. Then send more and capture anyone who helps him. The story of the human soldier spread like wildfire. People whispered of the ghost ape who walked without armor and tamed. The wild the princess could not understand. How could a weak human survive alone? But her generals looked worried. The peace summit was over, but a new story had begun. The jungle of Zarathu's prime was alive with sound and movement. Tall trees stretched up to the sky like giant fingers. Bright green leaves rustled in the warm breeze. Strange creatures moved in the shadows. The air smelled of wet earth and wildflowers. Sergeant Leo Grant walked quietly through this world. His skin was dark from the sun, and his eyes shone with calm strength. He had no armor now, no weapons, just his body and his mind. Days passed since he left the palace. But the Zarati jungle was no place for weaklings. Many had tried to hunt him down, but none had succeeded. Leo knew the land well. He had learned from old human soldiers and from the jungle itself. He had made clever traps from vines and stones. One trap was a simple net hidden above the ground. Another was a pit covered with leaves, and the big sky beasts attacked the nearby Zarati village. They fell into Leo's traps one by one. The villagers watched Leo with wonder. They whispered stories about the strange human who could control the jungle without tools or weapons. One morning, Leo woke to the sound of shouting. The Zarati village was under attack again, this time. A pack of large lizard-like creatures with sharp teeth and glowing eyes charged toward the village. The villagers ran for cover. But Leo stood tall in front of the beasts. He did not have a gun or sword, but he did not run. Instead, Leo used what he knew best. His mind. He threw stones and sticks to distract the creatures. Then, with quick moves, he pushed a heavy log down a slope, which rolled and scared the beasts away. The villagers came out of hiding and cheered. They had never seen such courage. One of the village elders, a tall Zarati man named Kale, approached. "Leo, you saved us," Kale said with respect. "But why? Humans and Zarati are not friends." Leo looked at Kale and smiled gently. "Because I believe in peace," Leo said simply. "Because I believe strength is not only in armor or weapons." Nodded slowly. "You are different from others. We will help you." Word of Leo's bravery spread quickly through the jungle. Some Zarati warriors, tired of the princess's arrogance, began to seek him out. One by one, they found Leo's hidden camp. Instead of fighting, they asked to join him. They wanted to learn from the human who could live without armor, without fear. Leo accepted them. Together, they built a small, strong group. But the news was not good for Princess Virelia, back in the capital city. She sat in her chamber, watching reports from her scouts. "They have not found Leo," her chief scout said, "but strange. Things are happening near the jungle." "Tell me more," Virelia said, her voice sharp. "Zarati warriors have disappeared. Some have joined this human leader in the jungle. Villagers speak of a ghost who walks without armor and controls beasts." Virelia's eyes burned with anger. "How is this possible?" she demanded. "Humans are weak. They hide behind machines." Her advisors looked nervous. Perhaps one said carefully, "Leo Grant is not like other humans. Perhaps he is stronger." Virelia stood up. "Then we will show him the truth. Send the elite scouts. Find him. Bring him back, dead or alive." The elite scouts were the best soldiers of the Zarati Empire, were fast, silent, and deadly. Their armor was lighter than Leo's, but their weapons were sharp and strange. They entered the jungle with no fear, but the jungle was a maze. Leo and his small army knew every path, every hiding place. One night, scouts found Leo's camp. They watched from the shadows. Leo was speaking quietly with Kale and the other Zarati warriors. Suddenly, one scout made a mistake. A dry branch snapped under his boot. Leo heard the sound and looked up. The scouts attacked, but Leo's group was ready. They fought with speed and skill, without weapons. Leo used his fists and body to knock down 2 scouts. The Zerati warriors fought fiercely with their blades in the chaos. Several scouts were captured. The rest fled back into the jungle. The next morning, Virelia received the news. Leo fights like a wild beast, the messenger said. Virelia's face darkened. He is a human, she said coldly. But he fights like a Zerati warrior. Send more troops. We'll end this. But the soldiers were tired. Many did not want to fight against their own people who followed. Leosum secretly admired the human soldier. The jungle was changing. Leo was not just surviving. He was becoming a symbol, the symbol of a new power. The princess could only watch. One night, under the glowing moons of Zarathos Prime, Leo sat with his new allies around a fire. Kale looked at him and said, "You are more than a soldier, Leo. You are a leader." Leo smiled softly. "I did not come here to conquer," he said. "I came to prove that strength comes from inside." Kale nodded. "Then we fight for that strength. Together." As the fire crackled, the jungle seemed to listen. The story of the human soldier who did not need armor was no longer a secret, and the galaxy was about to change forever. The jungle around Leo's camp was quiet in the early morning light. Birds sang softly, and the leaves glimmered with dew. But inside Leo's mind, a storm was growing. Princess Virelia had sent a new message through her fastest courier. She wanted to meet Leo herself. The message was clear and full of challenge. Surrender to the Zerati throne, human, or face destruction. Leo read the message calmly. He folded it and looked at the faces of his Elisarati warriors, villagers, and a few other aliens who had joined them. Kale, the tall Zerati elder, stepped forward. "The princess wants you. She wants to prove you are weak." Leo shook his head. "She does not understand us. Humans are not weak. But I will meet her, not as a slave, not as a fighter, but as an equal." Kale smiled. "You are brave." Leo's group moved through the jungle carefully. They knew the princess would bring guards. After 2 days, they reached a clearing near the edge of the jungle. A large Zerati battle cruiser was waiting. Its metal skin shone under the sun. The Zerati flag flew proudly. Virelia stood at the top of the ship's ramp. Her silver hair blew in the wind. Her face was hard, but her eyes searched for something new. Leo stepped forward. He was still without armor. His hands were empty. His posture was calm and strong. The princess looked him up and down. "You walk into my land unarmed and without fear," she said. "Why?" Leo met her eyes. "Because I do not need weapons to show who I am." Virelia laughed. A cold, sharp sound. "You think you are more than a human soldier. But you are not," Leo said quietly. "You do not understand. We wear armor not because we are weak, but because we protect others. You think humans are simple, but we carry a responsibility." The princess's guards shifted nervously, whispered among themselves. Suddenly alarms sounded from the cruiser. Virelia's eyes widened. Sabotage. Her captain shouted. Explosions shook the ship. Smoke rose from the engines. Chaos spread quickly. Leo looked toward the ship's control tower. He saw Zerati warriors loyal to him, moving quickly to stop the sabotage. Virelia's face twisted with anger and confusion. Leo stepped back. "I will not fight you today, princess," he said calmly. The guards hesitated. Virelia shouted, "Seize him!" But some guards lowered their weapons. They stepped aside. The humans and Zerati who had joined Leo began to control the cruiser. Virelia was trapped. Her power was slipping. Leo turned and walked away from the ship. The princess was left standing, humiliated and defeated. Later, in the safety of the jungle camp, Virelia's guards tended to her wounds. She looked at Leo from across the fire. "You walk away while I lose everything," she said bitterly. Leo looked tired but steady. "I walk away because I choose when to fight," he said. "You think this is weakness? But it is strength." Virelia's pride burned inside her. But something else stirred Dash's respect for the first time. She saw the human not as a weak soldier, but as something new. That night, stars shone above the jungle. Far away, hidden in the darkness of space, an ancient alien race watched the news. They saw the humans growing stronger. They decided it was time to act. The galaxy was changing, and the next war was coming. The stars above Zarathos Prime were bright and silent.
Wow.
But below, the great cities of the Zarati Empire were filled with fear. News had come from the far edges of the galaxy. Dark threat was moving closer. The ancient enemy, the Valari swarm, had awakened after centuries of silence. Their ships were vast, black, and terrifying. They consumed worlds without mercy. Princess Virelia sat in the great hall of her palace. Her silver hair was messy, and her eyes showed worry for the first time. "The Valari are coming," her generals said. "They will destroy us all if we do not prepare." Virelia stood, her voice strong but scared. "We need help. The human alliance is our only hope." But her generals looked doubtful. "They will help, if you ask Leo Grant. Only he has the strength to stop the swarm." Virelia's heart beat fast. She hated to admit it, but she knew they were right. The princess sent a message through the fastest couriers. She would find Leo Grant and ask for his help. Meanwhile, deep in the jungle, Leo was training his new army. His warriors, both Zarati and others, practiced moves and strategies. The human soldier had become a leader of many, a symbol of hope. When Virelia's message came, Leo read it carefully. He looked at Kale and the others. "We must face this threat together," Leo said. "I will meet the princess." A small group traveled with Leo to the edge of the jungle. There a large Zarati fleet waited. Vrlia was there, her face serious. Leo stepped forward. "Princess," he said, "what do you want?" Virelia bowed her head slightly. "I ask for your help. The Valari swarm will destroy us all." "I was wrong to mock you. Will you fight with us?" Leo studied her for a long moment, then he nodded. "We will fight, but not because of you, because we must survive."
Nice.
The armies gathered. Zarati warriors and human soldiers stood side by side. The air was thick with tension and hope. The Valari swarm appeared in the skies, a black cloud of ships, moving like a storm. The battle was fierce. The Valari were fast and deadly. Their weapons burned like fire. Many Zarati ships fell, but Leo's soldiers fought harder than ever. Human fighters moved with courage and skill. Leo led the ground forces, moving through the battlefield without armor, inspiring his troops. The Valari pushed forward, but they were not ready for the human spirit. Leo used tactics that surprised even the Zarati commanders. He knew how to turn weakness into strength. At the height of the battle, Leo faced the Valeri Queen Hive ship. It was huge and dangerous. With the help of Zarati warriors and human pilots, Leo attacked the Queen ship. The fight was close and deadly. Finally, Leo reached the core of the Hive ship. With a powerful strike, he destroyed the Queen's control center. The swarm's ships began to lose control. Their formation broke apart. The Valari retreated, defeated for now. The battlefield was silent except for the sounds of ships and soldiers. Virelia approached Leo. "You saved us," she said quietly. Leo looked at her and smiled. "We saved ourselves. Together." The war was over, but the galaxy was changed. A new alliance had been born, led by humans, who did not need armor to show their strength. And the 19-year-old princess learned a lesson she would never forget. The stars above the battlefield shone cold and bright. The Valari swarm was falling back, but they would not give up easily. The war was not yet over. Sergeant Leo Grant stood at the front of the human and Zarati forces. His armor was back on. Now, shining under the twin suns of Zarathos Prime, his eyes were fierce and determined. "Today," Leo said, "we fight for our homes, for our future, for peace." The soldiers cheered. Humans and Zarati, once enemies, now stood together. As brothers and sisters, the Valari ships swarmed like angry hornets. Their weapons fired beams of dark energy that lit up the sky, but the humans were ready. Their ships were fast and clever. Their soldiers fought with fierce courage. Leo led the ground assault. Without his armor, he was still strong, but with it, he was unstoppable. He moved like lightning. Cutting through enemy lines, the Zerati warriors fought beside him, their blades shining with honor. The battle raged for hours. The air was filled with smoke, fire, and the sounds of war. But slowly, the tide began to turn. Human engineers hacked the Valari ship's control systems. Zerati pilots targeted the Queen ship again. Leo fought his way onto the Queen Hive ship. It was dark and filled with strange alien machines. At the heart of the ship, the Valari Queen waited. Her many eyes glowed red. She hissed and lunged at Leo. But he was faster. With a powerful strike from his energy blade, Leo cut through the Queen's defenses. The Queen screamed and fell. The Hive ship began to collapse. Outside, the Valari swarm lost control. Their ships crashed into each other or fled into space. The war was over. Leo stood on the battlefield, breathing hard but victorious. Virelia approached him, her silver hair glowing in the firelight. "You are a hero," she said softly. Leo shook his head. "I am not a hero. Just a soldier who refused to give up." The Zerati leaders came forward. They bowed to Leo, their respect clear. A new era had begun. The human and Zerati alliance grew stronger. Together, they rebuilt the worlds damaged by war. But Leo did not stay in the spotlight. One night, he packed his gear and left the capital quietly. He walked away from the armor, the power, and the fame. Before he disappeared into the stars, he left a simple message. "Next time, do not judge a man by his armor. Judge him by his heart." And so, the story of the human soldier who walked away without armor became a legend. A story told across galaxies, a story of strength, courage, and respect. A story of humanity unleashed.